Today I'm going to show you how to make this little pair of earrings that I am calling Basket of Crystals. So as you can see, there are a couple of crystals dangling inside this oval shaped peyote that I created. And I think it's just really cute. There's a little crystal up here. It's just kind of different, fancy. I was actually making a bezel for a cabochon, and I figured out that the bezel was kind of pretty all by itself. So I have changed it into a pair of earrings. Let me show you the set. It's squished. There. That's the set. And I am going to go ahead and show you the material list. Okay, for this project we will be using 11/0s in 2 colors. These are Toho 11/0s. I'm using the nickel plate, and I am using a pearlized opaque turquoise with an AB finish. And like I said, these are Toho 11/0s. And then I'm using a Toho 15/0, which is a metallic pink. And then I am using 2 colors of 11/0 Delicas, and these Delicas are metallic bronze, and this one is steel. You will also need 2 ear wires and 2 4mm bicone crystals. I am using a pink with an AB finish, and you will need 4 6mm cubes. So these are just Chinese crystal cubes, and they're just kind of a rainbowish color. So just any cube that you want to use, you can use Swarovski, you can use whatever you want. These are 6mm, and you could also use a couple pearls, whatever you'd like to put in your basket. But this is what I'm going to use. And then some 8-pound Fireline is what I'm going to be using. You can also use 6-pound Fireline or 8 or 10-pound nanofill. Doesn't really matter. 6 is probably going to work a little bit better, as we're going through these beads a lot. I am using 8-pound because that's the only color I have in smoke, and I want to use the smoke color with my beads because they're a little bit darker. So I've decided to use that. However, you can use what you would like. I'm using a size 12 beading needle because it slides through the beads a little bit better. Put onto your needle about 4 feet of thread, and we'll get started. Okay, to start this project, you're going to pick up onto your needle and move down onto your thread 37 of your main color of 11/0 seed beads. So this is my turquoise Toho, and there's 37 of them. Then you're going to pick up 2 of your accent color, which is my nickel plate. So on your thread, you will have 39 beads in total. Then you're going to bring them down to the end of your thread, and we're going to tie these into a knot. Be careful when tying your knot not to get it between your beads. I find this to be the most difficult part. I don't know why. Then just leave the knot rather loose so that you can move your beads around on it, so that you can make more room for your beads as you do your peyote stitch. So this is what this should look like. Now I've left a little bit too much tail, so I'm going to cut it down, but I am going to leave some so I can move my beads around and hold on to it and just make sure my beads don't slip off. So now I am coming out right here. Well, I'm not coming out. This is right where my knot is. So I'm going to go through the 2 11/0s of the other color and 1 of the first main color beads. Get you a little closer, like so. And then I'm just going to pull it through without pulling my knot through. So don't tug too hard to where your knot goes through your beads. You want it to stay where it's at. And then you're going to begin peyote. So we're going to pick up 1 of our main color beads, and we're coming out of this bead. We're going to skip this one and go into this one. And pull that bead down on top of the bead we skipped. And again, you're coming out here, skip this one, and go into the next bead. If you hold your finger and your thumb over it, you can pull it through, guiding your bead down and giving it a little tug so that you actually get your peyote to form properly. As you're making your round, you can move your knot just a little bit and give yourself more slack if you need it. I didn't really need it there, but I wanted to show you what you could do. We're going to continue just picking up the beads, skipping, coming out of one bead, skipping the next, and going into the next. And we're going to do that until we get all the way around the circle. Once we get all the way around the circle, right here, we will come back so I can show you what we will do next to start our next round. Okay, so I have gone all the way around, and I am about to put my last bead in my round. So I'm coming out of this bead right here after putting this one in. I'm going to skip over this bead, go into this one and the silver bead behind it. I'm going to give myself just a little bit more room on my thread. You can adjust it by pulling on your tail if you get too much, because I got a little bit much there. And then, after you've come up through this silver bead right here, you're going to pick up 2 more of your silver colored 11-ohs. And I keep getting an odd shaped bead. Sorry about that. Let me get 2 of them. Okay. And then we're going to go into this bead right next to the one we're coming out of, and the bead behind it, and the bead behind that one. So you're going through the silver one, this bead, and this bead here, the one that's sticking up in the round we just put on. That, in essence, is the completion of the first row and our step up. Now, just tug on your tail a little bit. Make sure that you can have these laying here very nicely, very neatly. Tug on your tail, tug on your working thread, and then we're going to begin another round of peyote with our main color of beads. So we're coming out of this bead right here. We're going to go into the next sticking up one. And we're just going to do an entire round going into the sticking up beads. Give a nice little tug after each one to get good tension, and it will start to cup slightly as you make your way around, and that's okay. We want it to do that. So just continue putting your beads in all the way around, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have gone all the way around, and I'm coming out of my very last bead that I just put on, and you will see that there is 1 single bead here, and then that we go up into our silver beads. So instead of placing another bead on top of here, we're just going to go directly through that single bead right below the silver beads and then up through the silver beads. And then we're going to grab another 11-oh seed bead in the silver color, and we're going to go out of this one into this one, into the blue bead beneath it here, the single turquoise bead. My knot must be right there, guys. I'm trying to get through. There we go. I'll show you what I have. So this is what I have. I'm coming out of this blue single bead right here. Now I'm going to continue doing some more of my peyote, but this time I'm going to use some Delicas. So I'm going to grab my Delicas. I'm coming out of this single bead right underneath the little triangle we've made with the silver beads. I'm going to pick up a Delica in my steel color, and I am going to begin. Did I want steel? Let me see. Yeah, steel. And then I'm going to begin doing peyote. So I'm coming out here, I'm going to skip over this one and go into this one right here. This bead I didn't get my tension on very well. I'll have to sew back through that. But that's the way it should look. You should have a couple of beads sticking out on the back, like so. And just continue going around with your Delicas on the inside here. Give a nice tug as you go around. And continue putting Delicas all the way around till we get back to this side. Once we get back to this side, then we will come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, I've gone all the way around with my Delicas. I'm going to put my last one in. This is kind of a funny step here. So I'm coming out here, I'm going to place a Delica here and then go into my singular bead here. Pull that bead down and put it into place. Pull your thread around so that it's coming out of there properly and your bead sits there correctly, like so. Okay, so now I have done my peyote all the way around. Putting in this very last bead can be a little difficult because this one wants to stick out. But go ahead and put in the last one in front of this bead, go up through your blue standing alone bead before your silver beads, and then go up into the silver beads. Now this gets a little bit more difficult to access. Sometimes it's helpful if you just go straight up through the silver beads right as you come out of your last blue bead, but you can get back through them. Just go to the back of them right here and sew up through both of the silver beads on that side. Pull through, avoiding your tail, which you can cut off now if you'd like, and then go through this top bead, like so, and then sew through these two beads right here and this bead here, the blue standing alone bead. Go through all three of these. It's just going to be easier if you can get them all three at once. You might not be able to though. So go through them. If you use a smaller thread, it'll be a little bit easier too, but it's not really so much that they're full of thread. It is more the angles that they are at this point in the pattern. So now we need to go through this blue bead one more time here. And then give it a nice tug so that everything you just mangled will go back into shape here, like so. Now we have to step up into this Delica bead right here. And we're going to do another layer of Delicas, and we're going to do it in the bronze color now. So I'm just going to pick up a Delica in my bronze color, and I am going to put it down between the Delicas that are in my silver color, so they don't stick up quite as much as a regular peyote stitch would, just because you've got them next to the bigger Toho 11-0. And so just know that you need to go into the silver beads or the first layer of Delica beads that you put on and continue moving through each one, placing a new Delica bead in between, like so, and continue all the way around, and we'll be back. Okay, so I've gone all the way around, and I am now coming out of this Delica right here, the silver Delica. We are going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, and we are going to go into the Delica right across from it. So just skip right over that gap and pull this together like so, and then go up through the next Delica right here. Now you're going to begin putting in 15O seed beads. So I've got my little pink 15Os, and I'm going to go from my last layer of Delica that's sticking up into the next one. So I will just place 15Os between each one of these Delicas. Continue doing that all the way around, and then we'll be back. Okay, so now as you can see, I've put my 15Os all the way around. I'm coming out of this Delica right here after putting this 15O in. I'm going to go up into the Delica above it without placing a 15O, and then go into this 11O here. And this should tighten that one. Then we're going to go back into this Delica on this side. And basically we just have to sew through our peyote to get over to this side. So I'm going to go into this blue bead right here. Right there. And then I am going to go up into this bead and up into this one right above it. Now I'm going to turn this over. I'm coming out of this bead right here. I've just turned my piece over. I'm going to pick up two 11Os in my silver color, and I'm going to go from this bead over to this one right here. One sticking out on the other side, and I'm going to pull these two beads down like so. And then I'm going to begin one more row of peyote in my blue color. So I'm going to do this side and one more of my turquoise color. So I'm coming out here. I'm going to go ahead and go into the next one. And then again, pick up another blue one, go into the next sticking out one. And give a nice tug, make sure everything is nice and secure, and continue until you're all the way around the entire piece. Okay, so I have done my entire round of blue beads on the back side here, and I'm coming out of this very last blue bead after putting on my last one in the row I just finished. I'm now going to come up into one of these silver beads right here. As I come through, I'm just going to kind of tug on it, pull it out and up as much as I can, and then I'm going to pick up two of my silver 11O seed beads, and I'm going to go into the 11O next to the one I'm coming out of and into this first blue bead on the other side of it. Now as you pull this down, it's going to tangle, twist, do all kinds of weird stuff. Just pull it down as carefully as you can and line it up the best you can. They always twist on this step. So you just have to play with it until you can get them to untwist, like so. If you put your thumb on top of it and just pull on it, you will eventually get them to lay correctly. It just takes a little bit of patience with this step. And now I have it. And now I can begin doing a row of my Delicas, but I need to step up. So I'm down in this lower bead here. I need to step up into this high sticking up bead. And then I can begin putting my silver Delicas in. So pick up one, go into the next sticking up blue bead, and pull, and just continue all the way around, putting my silver Delicas in. And once I get done with this row, we will be back. Go all the way around, and then I'll show you the next step. And now I have gone all the way around and put my last Delica in here, and you can see this one is recessed down here, and I'm coming out of this one. I'm going to leave this one down where it's at. I'm going to go up into the silver one. I'm going to go into that one below, this silver one here, and then up into the silver one above that one, right here. And then I'm going to grab this silver one up on the top here. And I'm going to pull it over and go down through these two silver. I'm just going to kind of manipulate that bead over the top a little bit. It's not going to sit there perfectly, but you want it the best you can get it, so just pull it over as much as you can. And it's just going to kind of tip back. It's not going to actually center right on top of all those beads. It's just going to kind of tip back. And that's what you want, just like that. And then you're coming out of this silver bead here. You must go down into the bead below it, and the bead raised next, and then the Delica. So you're going through 3 beads. This one, and this one. Then you're going to begin placing your bronze Delica beads, or whatever color. If you're using one color Delica, that's fine. I'm using silver and bronze. It does show to a point, but they kind of blend together a little bit. I could have chosen a little bit more contrasting colors, but that's okay. I'm just going to go into each Delica, each silver Delica, placing my bronze Delica, like so, and continue all the way around. Okay, so I have gone all the way around putting in my bronze Delicas. I'm coming out of this silver Delica right here. We're going to go up into the blue bead right above that Delica, right there. So the bead that we went into, the Delica we went into, putting our last bronze Delica in, the bead right above that one, we're going to go into that blue one, and then we're going to pick up a crystal, a 4mm bicone crystal, and then we're going to cross over and go into this bead right here. So you're going to see we're coming out of this bead, there's a blue bead on top of it, then a silver bead. You're going to cross over, there's a silver bead, then a blue bead, and then we're going to go into this bead right above where our Delicas start. So go into that blue bead and into the Delica right underneath it. Pull this crystal down tight so it hugs right in there. And then come up into the next Delica right here. So you're coming out of this Delica, go up into the next one. And begin putting in your 15-0 seed beads. So pick up your 15-0, go into the next bronze Delica or whatever color you're using, and continue going all the way around, putting the 15-0s between the Delicas on your last row that you created. Go all the way around, and as we come up to this area, we'll be back. Okay, so I have finished my 15-0s. I'm coming out of this Delica right here after putting in my last 15-0. Let me straighten out my thread here. And now I want to travel up and put on my connection for my ear wire. So I'm going to go into this bead and I'm going to go into the blue bead above it. Right here. So I've gone into this Delica and into this blue bead here. Pull your thread through and then go into the next blue bead and the 2 silver beads if you can get them. You might not be able to because of the angle, but I was able to do that, so I'm going up through all 3 of these beads right here. And then I'm going to pick up a 15-0 and I am going to go through this top bead. And I'm going to pop that 15-0 in just to cover that area where this bead didn't quite pull all the way down. And then I'm going to pick up 7. Did I want 7? Yes, I'm going to pick up 7 15-0 seed beads. Sorry, I'm looking at my original here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm coming out of this side of this top bead. I'm going to go into the other side and I'm going to pull these beads down into a circle. Now I'm going to sew in a particular way through these so that they will make a square. I'm going to go through 2 15-0 seed beads and pull my thread through. And then I'm going to go through 3 15-0 seed beads. Hold my thumb and my finger over it and pull that through. And then I'm going to go through 2 15-0 seed beads. And then I'm going to go through the top bead again. This should pull it into a square shape. If it does not, sew through it again. Go through 2 on this side. And then 3 here. And then through 2. And then back through your top bead. Like so. Then pick up a 15-0 seed bead and go down through these 2 beads here, these 2 silver beads. So you're going through your top bead, go through these 2 silver beads, and try to go through the blue beads if you can. I don't think I'm going to be able to. So I'm just going to go through these 2 silver beads and pull this down. And straighten it all out so it looks nice. Now, this won't be a perfect square, it's just somewhat square shaped. And then we're going to go into this blue bead here, well, this one here actually, and the one beneath it, and the first Delica if we can. Nope. That's the thing about this part right here, is it's really tight. So I'm just going at a different angle and I'm coming through. Now, I'm finished with my entire basket portion. Now I just need to fill it with the crystals. So I'm coming out of this Delica right here. I'm now going to go over into this blue bead right here. If you cannot get through these beads perfectly, you just need to be able to get down into the body of your work. So you can sew through whatever way will hide your thread and get you through. You should be able to get through. I've done it a couple times and I've been able to do so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm coming out of this bead and I'm just going to sew down until I get about here. You don't have to sew exactly as I'm going to, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into this bead, and then I'm going to go over into this bead, and then I'm just going to go back and forth between my peyote beads right here. Just back and forth, sewing down until you're in the largest part of the bow of your shape here. So it doesn't have to be exact, just in this largest area, and then you're going to poke your needle through the peyote and up through the center of the beads like this. Let me back off just a little. I don't know if that's been in focus. I hope so. Now we're going to pick up a cube and go through it with your needle like so. Bring it down on your thread and then just come through about the width of your crystal. There's no exact way to do this. Just come through the width of your crystal. Make sure the thread doesn't twist and pull that crystal down. And tuck it into the center of your basket like so. We could have even gone up a little higher actually, but that's okay. Now once you are through, go to where your thread is coming out and sew into your peyote again. We're going to secure that crystal by just sewing through the peyote. So now I'm going to go down into this bead. Just kind of want to make a circle with my thread like this. And then I can go into this bead here, and then into this bead here. Just making sure that you're sewing to where your thread will pop back down in between the beads. Now I'm going to go into this one here, and I'm going to poke my needle. Let's see, do I want to poke through there? I think I'll go up a couple more beads. Just look where your crystal is. You want to get right to the edge of where it's at and then poke your needle back through. See how my needle's kind of brushing my cube up? You want to place the next cube right next to it so that they'll hold each other in place. So I'm going to grab another cube. I think I want this one. And I'm going to bring it down, making sure my thread does not twist. I'm going to go back through the peyote, like so. Hold your cube out so that you can see that your thread is not twisting, because it wants to twist the entire time. And pull your crystal in and make sure you place it to where you cannot see the whole of the bead and the thread. So just arrange it like so. Now these are supposed to lay next to each other messy. They're not supposed to be nice and neat. And then once you've got it into place, go on the back side of your peyote and begin to sew through. Now let's go back this way. Make kind of a circle, just securing your crystal in there. Now I was originally going to put 3 in, but I think just 2 is going to do it. I could try to put another one in, but the way I have it centered, it's not going to work very well. If you want to put 3 in, you have to start up a little higher. But I think 2 is going to work just fine. So I'm just going to sew through my peyote a little bit more. making sure my crystals are stable. Make sure they don't move around. And you just want them in there kind of like they're tumbling around in there. I'll just sew up through my peyote. Until I can get to a point to where I can sew back down and just weave this in here securely. So let's see, I want to go this way. Making sure my thread is really well entwined through the peyote so that I don't necessarily have to tie a knot and mess up my pretty basket. Then I'll just bring it back this way. So you can see I'm just weaving through to make sure that there's security there. And then I can just cut this, leaving a small tail, and burn it down. Now I have a basket of crystals, and I am going to open an ear wire. So I'm just going to grab this ear wire with my flat nose, and I'm going to open it from side to side like so. Pop this down, making sure that your crystal is towards the front of your ear wire, your little 4 millimeter bicone crystal, and pop that on there. Close the ear wire. And call it good. And whoops, let's see if I can hold it. My hands are all dirty now from the Fireline, but hey, you know, there we have a basket of crystals earring. Let me back up a little bit for you, and that's what that looks like. And here's the set. So let me show you like that, and then I'll pick them up so you can see them dangling a little bit, kind of, sort of, in my hand here. Let's see, like that. And that's what they look like. Now there's no way to get your cubes in there exactly the same. Just get them as closely as you can. And I think that looks really cute. It's kind of Eastery. I really didn't intend to make it Eastery, but that's what it looks like. So that'll work for an Easter earring, or just change the color scheming and it can be for any occasion. Of course, this color scheming can be for any occasion too. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you later. Bye-bye.